Passport Bros. It's, I guess the presentation is, this is something that started on TikTok, the Chinese data collection agency. What the presentment is that American women are not dateable and not marriage material, and so these guys are getting their passports and going to other countries in hopes to secure dating or wife material, what have you. Now, is that true? And I think this started, please don't hold me to this, but I want to say this started in the black community. Unmarriable? Is that a word? I don't know. Well, let's examine it. But let me turn off this heater first. It's noisy. So let's examine the black women in the black community. We got wigs, we got masculine energy, we got eyelashes like Snuffleupagus that do that. We got a cell phone that is like a human appendage now, carried everywhere. Cook with it, drive with it, because you don't want to miss any of that validation and attention. That's very important. Fingernails like Freddy Krueger. I don't know if you're into the 80s horror flicks, but if you are, you can look up the masculine energy. Unpleasant, obese, multiple children from multiple dads, but yet this list of standards that now, after the damage has been done, you have to qualify in order to date her and potentially, court her, or maybe even marry her at some point. White women, same way. I've got a degree, I've got my own income, I've got, and here's my list of demands. And so the white young men, deprived of the midnight rodeo, are gonna go do some off-sea drilling, is what it amounts to, and maybe find a wife. The trouble with that is, you're going to have to live somewhere. Now what I mean by that is, let's say you find this girl, this young woman, and she's pleasant, and she's thin, and she'd make a good life partner for you. What are you gonna do? Bring her back to America? And let her eat the poisonous concoctions known as food in America, and blimp up, and get Americanized with the chicken head, don't need no this and that and the other thing, the cell phone appendage in the hand, you're not solving anything here. Or the other option, maybe you can stay in that country, and a lot of these guys are, or they're trying to. But these are poorer countries. So, if you rely on medication of any kind, that's not a given. That's hit or miss. Even something so basic as insulin for a diabetic. Maybe you'll get it, maybe you won't. Rolling blackouts at any time, night or day, 3-4 hours without notice. You just don't have any electricity. Can you live like that in a tropical climate, mind you? So no air conditioning. Maybe you have it, maybe you won't. Road rules that sometimes sort of apply. You got chickens running the road and barefoot kids and all. I'm not making this stuff up. I watched some videos here on YouTube. Some of these, my leaning was more of the expatriates that gave up their American citizenship and went to, say, the Philippines to live. And these are a lot of the things they deal with. Unavailability of products, cheap rent, but you're going to have ants in your kitchen. You got bugs. It's a tropical climate. That's part of the deal. You're not going to go there and enforce your American way of doing things on the Philippines, even though it's, I guess, an American territory, what have you, by force. It's a whole different world down there. Or Thailand, or Vietnam, or wherever you think you're going to go. So you're going to stay there? I mean, maybe you are. Good for you, I guess. The trouble with that is, you're going to meet the family really quick. By family, I don't mean mom and dad. I mean mom, dad, brother, sister, uncle, cousin. 25, 30 people is not uncommon, because the American has money, and they don't. And what a lot of these guys are finding out is once they get there and they meet, you know, this gal, and she's pleasant and she's thin and she's just overjoyed to give him company and perhaps other things that go along with that. Then you meet the family, and the family showers you with gifts and attention and food and cakes and pies. And oh, it's just so great to meet you. Now, mind you, these people don't have two nickels to rub together. They're poor. Because of economic conditions imposed on them, they might work all day, hard physical work, and make the equivalent of about $6 American. But they got money for pies and cakes and extravagant celebrations and food and fireworks. Why do you think that is? Because you're going to be the ATM, buddy. You do what you want. I'm just saying maybe people should look into this a little more than they are. This is not a stopgap measure. And where are you going to live? You're going to bring them back to America and deal with that? Or are you going to stay where they're at and live their way and provide now for a family of 30? I mean, good luck to you, I guess. Is it that important to you? It must be. And I do remember being a young man and that testosterone drive. It's powerful, powerful stuff. I'm not saying it isn't. I mean, I guess it's one way of going about it. Now, some of these guys are being abducted, being held ransom because the Americans have money. And that can mean any amount. If you have $20,000 in Thailand, you got some serious money, man. It would take them years to accumulate that kind of cash. You might ought to think this through a little bit. Another thing some of these guys are coming across, at least the Philippines part, the part that I examined quite a bit. Time over there, you know, you got a 2:30 appointment at the doctor, maybe. And it might be 3, might be 3:30, might be 4, might be 4:30. We don't know. We might not get you. You know, everything's it's kind of flexible. Whole different way of life. You're not going to go there and try to impose your American way of doing things on a country that is not your own. And I'd really like to see some of the foreign folks coming to this country do the same thing. You know, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. But they expect a translator and they expect, you know, total accommodations and all. That's a whole other subject. I did do a video on immigration. I don't know. You do what you want to do. I'm just saying you might ought to investigate this a little further. And I can't imagine that the local men over there are thinking this is such a great idea and they're going to welcome you with open arms. That's their women. And by that, I don't mean a possessive sense. I mean, that's their dating pool as well. You're going to take them because you can work remotely and you have more money than they do? There's 23 of them deleted last year, I believe, in Colombia alone, according to the statistics that I read. You might be careful what you're doing. I highly recommend a reconnaissance trip. Don't plan on meeting any girls or just go. See what the country's like. See what the culture's like. Could I live this way? Maybe can. Maybe not. Again, do what you want to do. I'm just throwing out some advice. Moral of the story, I guess, is how bad have things become here in the West, where dating these girls isn't even an option? And yeah, it really has become that bad. I'd be interested in your comments. You can feel free to put them in the comment section. I do appreciate your time. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.